on those comment cards for our speakers. Our next speaker, Toastmaster Gary Adams, is doing what Toastmasters do. He was filling in whenever needed, including putting together a last-minute speech just now titled "The Pressure of Communication." Please give a warm and mellifluous welcome to Toastmaster Gary Adams.
When you walk into Toastmasters, say hello to this young man, and he says, "You're speaker number 3. That's when you're glad you wore the brown suit. Carson almost got that joke. I will try to make this speech as mellifluous as possible, considering, yes, I did just scratch all this down. So what is pressure? We've all heard the word, and we could say maybe it's the amount of pressure Tim was feeling when he was trying to move the boat off of the sand that wasn't even close to what he would have been feeling if he would have known the alligators were actually. You do realize that everyone else in this room knew that without any research. Just saying. Everyone. Tourists knew that. World famous. But Tim Taylor didn't know. Pressure's used in the communication with animals. It's something that is a general term used in the horse world predominantly. People will talk about the application and the release of pressure. You get on a horse, you squeeze, you kick, you spank, you do whatever you do, the horse starts moving and you release pressure. Seems simple enough. In the dog training world, those terms aren't used, but they're still the same. You want a dog to sit. You grab a treat, you get the dog's attention, the dog pays attention, you kind of step in, applying pressure, and the dog sits. You relax, you reward the dog with a treat. Pressure and the release of pressure is universal communication with all living creatures. It is not just for animals. We all do it. Every being at infancy crawls around, walks around, does its thing, and it applies pressure, and it analyzes, does the thing I applied pressure to give the pressure, or does it move? And it helps with interpretation. The way we communicate is with body language, verbal, and physical pressure. And when I say physical pressure, it's not me. I would never hit Carmelo for telling me I'm speaker number 3 right when I walked in the door. But I could and I should. And I might. I'll give you 20. Wow. It's what we see, it's what we smell, it's what we hear. All of the different senses that we have applies a certain amount of pressure to what's up here. It's how we react to everything we do. We put on certain outfits for different things we're doing. We show up at a lake with a thing that's not even a boat. We try to call it a boat because people can sit. And pressure and the release of pressure is how all communication is done. When you get up behind the lectern, there's a certain amount of pressure that you feel. But what about the types of pressure that we apply on people around us on a daily basis? Do any of you ever think about that? Who said no? Ty's got his hand over there, and I saw it. We talk about it in Toastmasters. We need more body gestures. We should be doing this. We should be pushing the boat off the sandbar. What are we trying to do by applying pressure? We're trying to communicate in everything we do. We want to get others' attention. We apply pressure. Does anyone think that pressure can be applied through not a direct application, but through a way of spontaneing a desire from another. That's pressure. When we open up Amazon, that's pressure. Pressure and the release of pressure is the core of communication. This is a concept I had in my head, thankfully, to kind of give a speech on with no research for today, but that's okay. I still like the general thought because it's not something that we really think about. When we really think about how we communicate, it's so much more than just we write a speech and we recite a speech. It's our tone, it's our volume, it's our inflection, it's humor, it's vulnerability, it's all of these other things that we try to throw together before we even write our speech. I know there's many of you in this room that have said, yeah, I've been kicking around this speech for a while. It's because we're feeling a certain amount of pressure, something that we feel like we want to say, we want to share with others. With the people that I mentor, I turn and say, yeah, well, it's cute that you want to share something, but you also have to remember that not everybody here wanted to hear what you had to say. So you have to find ways to apply pressure. That can be direct pressure. It's what's considered in the horse world, they call drive. It's when you try to drive a horse. You might get the whip and you crack the whip, you make a noise, you push the horse, whatever. And then indirect pressure, which is called draw. Find something the horse wants and get them to want to come towards you. When I get the treat out, that's technically draw for the dog to then take the treat. So in Toastmasters, it is all about trying to be a better communicator. It's also about the application and the release of pressure. So I challenge each and every one of you. Number one, when this young man says, I need somebody for speaker number 3, just do it. The worst thing that'll happen is that Tim Linger will actually win. Pressure drives us to action. The release of pressure is what draws us and motivates us. It's the reward. Thank you, Toastmasters.